welcome to our Crazy Life Scotland. My name's Fiona, and today's craft and chat I'm going to make a lovely keepsake gift for someone using this heart photo frame mould. There is a lovely lady who is leaving our local youth cafe after running it for 13 years, and I said that I would make her a gift, just a little keepsake to say thank you and reminder of her time there. So that is what I'm doing this for. I wasn't originally going to film it, which is why it's gold inside. So the frame, the mould is actually all white. I believe this was a Temu mould. I'm not 100% sure. If you really want it, let me know and I will see if I can get the link for you. But basically what I've done is I have just dusted the inside with this marble colour gold metallic mica powder. Now this definitely was from Temu and it's amazing. I got that tip from Michelle at Glitz and Glitter because normally this is going to be done in layers, and when you look at the outside of something with layers you can see it all and it looks a bit odd. So Michelle found that dusting the mould first with the gold saves you having to go around it all with a gold pen, and I thought what a great idea. Now I'm not going to do the gold on this bit. This is the stand that the frame will stand up in, but I don't want the gold in this bit. Some has gone on, so I will give that a little clean. In fact, I'll give it a little clean while we're talking about it. I'm just going to take a baby wipe just now and just go inside it all and take out any bits of gold that I don't want. So yeah, the plan is I'm going to do this in a few layers. The first layer I'm going to do just now, and I'm going to do it in a nice sort of cream colour. I've got a lovely mica, I can't remember what it's called, I'll show you when I get it out. But it's really nice. It's like an off-white, but it's quite pearlescent and I really like it. So I'm going to put that down first. I'm going to sort of let that cure for a few hours on my heat mat, and then I don't want it to be fully cured. It doesn't matter if it's not fully cured. Take some blue paper to dry it. But I do want it to be cured enough to be able to pour my next layer. And my next layer is going to be just clear resin with some gold foil, just to give it a little bit of depth and a little bit of interest. And then once that has almost cured, I am going to, in fact, yeah, once it's almost cured, I'm going to add my photo, and I want to add it before it's fully cured so that it stays in place, but once it's almost cured so that it doesn't float away. You know what I mean? I didn't think to do it on sticker paper or sticker vinyl, which is what Michelle did when she made this. Yes, I have been watching other YouTube videos to get ideas for this. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll let that properly cure overnight before I go on to do the next part. So right now all I'm going to do is mix up some resin, and I will come back to you once that's ready to go. So this is the mica that I was talking about, pearl white that it's called, and I'm almost out of it. I need to get more. I can't remember if it was Amazon or J Diction that I got it. I'll need to investigate to find out. I got it as part of a massive pack, and I have mixed up my resin here. I'm just going to get ready to pop some of my mica powder into the resin. I'm not measuring it out or anything, I'm just pouring some from the packet into the resin. I want quite a lot in there because I do love the colour. So yeah, I'll start with that amount and see how that looks. I'm going to stir it nice and slowly so that I don't introduce any bubbles. Once I'm happy with the colour, I just start pouring. So I'm very carefully pouring it round the edges first and quite slowly, so I'm not introducing too many bubbles, and also I don't want to disturb the gold that I've painted onto the mould because it is mica powder and it will float about if you're not careful, so I try to be as careful as I can. Then I decide to put some in the base as well, and I don't want to fill the base right up. I want to put some of the other colour in, but I want to make sure there's enough in there to cover the little pointy bit in the mould. I know it doesn't make much sense, but I know what I mean. I just want to make sure there's enough of that colour in there. Once I'm sure there is, I go back into the heart again. I want to make sure that I've got enough in there for my first layer. That's going to be my main layer. I don't want to put too much in because I know that I have got another couple of layers to go, but yeah, I pretty much just use up the resin that I've got there. Then of course you have to scrape your resin out. Don't lose any of your resin because it's expensive stuff. I give it a little spritz with alcohol to pop the bubbles, and then I think I shouldn't have done that because look, it's made some of the gold powder float. Hello again. So this is now cured enough for me to do my next layer, but you can see the bits where the gold has sort of moved into the white, but it's okay, there's nothing we can do about it, and the next layer might sort of hide it a wee bit anyway. So what I'm going to do, I've got my resin mixed up, and I'm now going to add some of these gold flakes to the resin. It's like a gold foil type thing. I am not going to put any colour in the resin. I want it to be clear apart from the gold foil. So I'm going to use some tweezers to take it from the jar and pop it in the resin. It sticks to everything, and it's quite big sheets in the tub like that, but once you actually start mixing it, it does break up quite a bit. So I just put that amount in at first, and then I give it a stir because it, like I said, it goes down in tiny pieces, so you don't know if you need more or not until you've actually started giving it a mix. So I'm mixing it all together and having a look at it to see what I think. I decide there's not enough in it, so I just get my tweezers again and add some more. You basically just want to do it a step at a time. You don't want to overpower it and then not be able to take it out, but it's easy enough to add more if you need it. Give it another stir around. And surprise, surprise, I decide to go in with more. You can never have too much of a shiny thing, can you? Glitter and shiny flakes and foils, you can't have too many of them. After giving that another good mix up, I am finally happy. I think I've got the right amount of gold foil in my resin. So I put the lid on the jar so that I don't knock it everywhere, because that's the kind of thing that I do. And then I'm just going to get ready to pour. So first of all, I fill up the base. There's not actually an awful lot of room left, but there's enough just to give it that extra something, so it's not just the plain white. And then I know how much I've got left to do in the heart. I don't want to put too much in because I bear in mind that I'm going to have another layer to put on top of that once it's done. So I just randomly pour it round. I'm not worried about where the gold flakes are landing the foil. I'm just randomly pouring it in because we don't want it to look patterned or regimented, and just make sure that I've got enough in the base there. Then I check to see if there's any sort of bald patches, any bits that look a bit bare, and there is a bit up there, so I just take some of the gold foil out of the resin cup and just pop it in there, break it up a little bit, and then I'm happy with it and I just leave it to cure. Good morning. In true Fiona style, I forgot to come back to add my photo while this was still soft, so it is cured, but I do need to add my photo. So I think I'm going to add some UV resin and basically stick the photo down. Now this is the photograph that I'm using. It was a photo with other people. I used Remove BG to get all the background and the other people out. I cut round it and I have sealed it a couple of times with Mod Podge. I've just basically brushed Mod Podge over it in a couple of layers just so the colours don't run once it's actually in the mould. So what the plan is, I want to have her sitting about there so that I can put writing there and there. I'm basically going to put the Youth Cafe name there, the dates there, and I just want to put thanks underneath, and I think the gold goes really nice with the colours in the photo. And I'm quite pleased to see that you can't really see the gold floating powder now that the foil is in there, so I like that. The base is ready to demould, but I'm going to be good. I wanted to demould it, but I'm not. I'm going to wait and demould it all together. So let's get some UV resin on here. I've got my Let's Resin UV resin, and I was just going to do it where the photograph was going, but then I thought it might look odd. You might actually see where the UV resin stops, so I'm going to put just a very thin layer right across the whole of the frame, the heart. So I'm just going to put some on and then just brush it across to make sure that it gets everywhere. Right, so I've helped it get to the edges. I didn't want to scrape the edge of the mould in case I took some of that gold off, but I've helped it get to the edges. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes just to properly level itself out before I add the photo and things. And yeah, if there's any bubbles needing popped, I will pop them. So I'll come back to you in a few minutes once I'm ready to add the photo. Right, it's been a few minutes. I think it's pretty much self-leveled. It's pretty much all covered. See a couple of little bubbles there that I'm going to use the lighter this time to pop instead of the alcohol after what happened with the gold. There we go, just using a long neck lighter, it gets rid of any little bubbles on the surface. And now I'm going to place my photo in. Now I don't want to sink it into the resin, I just want to lay it on top because we are going to be having a clear layer of epoxy on top. So just pop it on like that. I want it to go on slowly so that I'm not introducing too many bubbles. But I do want it to be right on. And the whole point of doing this is just to make sure that it stays in place when I pour the clear resin on top. Don't know if that looks straight or not. Let me have a look. I'm rubbish at getting things straight, to be honest. Right, I think that's where I want it to be. So I'm going to cure it under the UV lamp now, just to make sure all the UV resin's nice and cured. And while that is curing, I'm going to go on to Design Space and design the letters that I want, the words, sorry, that I want on the sides. So I'm on Cricut Design Space now. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how I actually do this. I have done one before. If you would like a specific tutorial, just let me know in the comments below. So I've got a blank canvas here. I did forget to measure the amount of space that I've got, so I'm just waiting to see if this has cured. Let's have a little looky. Nope, still a little bit soft. I really shouldn't have put my thumbprint in there. That was silly. So yeah, once I know how much space I've got, I'm going to come on here, type it all out, and then print it, cut it and weed it, and then I'll come back to you. Crazy carry on. I ended up not filming the weeding because it took me maybe about an hour and a half in total, no exaggeration, because I was using my Cricut Joy Smart Vinyl and it's great for reading, but trying to get it onto the transfer tape is a real struggle. And the letters that I was using were way too small. Some of the lines on the letters were way too thin. So eventually I went into Cricut Design Space and I changed the font and tried again, and I was still having major issues. And then it occurred to me, iron-on is much easier to read and cut small letters. But I thought, how am I going to iron it on to this because it's still in the mould? I know you can use iron-on on resin, but with it being in the mould, it would be far too awkward. And then I thought, I wonder if I use a heat gun. So I did try using my heat gun with heat transfer vinyl on a different project, not resin, and it worked. So I have decided to cut it out I used the Smart Vinyl again, but it was the Smart iron-on in the gold. And we will see how it works. It was much easier to weed. I still did have a few issues. I think, to be honest, my Cricut Joy blade's a bit blunt. It's not even sharpened. But yeah, we're going to see how we get on. Now, I'm worried about the size because it looks bigger than I thought it would be. So let's have a little look. So the thanks will go down here. Right, it is seeming a little bit big. So I'm just going to separate the heart from the thanks just now and see if that makes it easier. Don't want any hairs on it. That's a bit of a hazard in this house because of the dogs. And of course with iron on, if you have a hair under the letter, you ain't getting it off. I think we should be okay with that. Now, let's see. I'm sorry if you go off camera just now, I need to bring it a bit closer to me. The other thing with iron on is you get a couple of chances to position it. I think if I'm going to put the heart on, I need to move it over a bit. So let me try and take a little bit of this off, because I don't want to pull any of the resin away from the mould, or else when I pour my top coat on, it'll all go down the sides. Right, I'm going to go with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this down, and I don't want to use my heat gun too long and soften the resin. This is where we keep everything crossed, folks. I can't remember if this is a cool peel or a warm peel. Let's just, oh. It's not coming off. I think the issue is the photo here. The photos went weird. I think it's maybe just the glue, I hope. Ah, it's maybe a cool peel, that's maybe what it is. Not perfect, but given the hassles that I had, I'm going with it. It's meant to be the main word, doesn't it? And it doesn't look great. But I don't know if I'll be able to get it off now. No, I don't think so. We need to go with it, folks. We need to go with it. Right, well, I'll try and put the little heart on. You can't see it overly clearly either, which is something else that I was worried about. I didn't really have another colour that would go nicely. I'm out of black iron on at the moment. Wonder if I can cover the photo with something. Oh. Don't want the photo to get hot again. It wouldn't be one of my projects if it went well, would it? Nothing that I do ever goes smoothly. Right, let's try this. I'll let that cool before I do any more. Let's go for the date. This should fit okay. There's plenty of room for that. I think it's the glue. I think it's the Mod Podge that I used to seal it that's went a bit funny. Oh, I might end up having to do this whole project again. Because it's a gift, I don't want to just make do. It looks like a broken heart now, doesn't it? I think I should probably have coated the photo first and then went through this. I don't think there's any way of getting this off now. Right, I'm going to try to get this off and I'll come back to you. Okay, I did get the letters off, but it has left bits of glue and this photo is completely sticky and horrible now. So I am going to abandon it. I'm going to unmould it, see what it's like anyway, and redo it. Basically, I'm going to carry on doing it the same, but I think what I'll do is I'll put the letters down first and then put the picture down. And I might do them in separate layers as well, because I've still got quite a lot of depth there left in the mould. So yeah, it's a bit of a waste of resin, but I could maybe repurpose it, we'll see. But I'm going to unmould the base and let's see what that's like. Because yes, if the base is okay, then that'll save us some resin. I won't need to redo that. I've been desperate to unmould it anyway. Let's have a look. Oh, that's pretty. Here. That is really pretty. Couple of hairs. They're not attached. Yeah. Couple of little micro bubbles there, but you need to look very closely to see that. So I will keep the base. I'm just going to unmould this just now. See how the gold's lovely on the edge. I'm definitely going to do that again. That's a lovely finish. It won't sit properly just now because it isn't full. But yeah, I think it is going to look lovely. Woohoo! And the photo's a bit squint as well, isn't it? If it sits properly like that, yeah, the photo's squint. Do you know what? I might do the heart, then unmould it, and then do the rest. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, the photo is definitely looking squint. It is in the camera anyway. Right. I'm going to get back to where I was and then I'll come back to you. Hello, it is now a few days later and I've got back to that stage again. Where's my other heart? I did try to take the photo off so that I could do something with this and gave up. But yeah, we are back at this stage. Now, it occurred to me, instead of messing about with tiny bits of vinyl, I remembered that Michelle had printed her photo on sticker paper, and I thought, why not use sticker paper and do the writing at the same time? So I went onto Amazon and ordered some clear sticky paper, and I have done a print and cut with the Cricut, so it's all there, basically just waiting to go on to there. But as you can probably see, I thought, well, if I'm using sticker paper, I'm as well using the full lot. So I did make other stickers, added other stickers to it, and I used the new Cricut create a sticker feature for them, and told it to do a die cut, which means cut all the way through. And it has, which is great, but I didn't do that for this. I don't know why. I basically just did it as I would a normal print and cut, and it hasn't cut all the way through. It has at some bits, but not all. So I'm going to have to do a bit of trimming to get this ready to go on. So I'm just going to basically take it off of the big sheet first, just to make it easier. I was quite impressed with how well the Cricut handled the glossy sticker paper, because you can have issues with glossy papers doing print and cut because it can't read it properly, but I didn't have any issues like that. Right, so see if I take my gloves off. I was pouring my resin in the separate parts to heat up part A because it's quite chilly in my room, and I'm going to be using the 4-hour demold by J. Diction. I really don't want bubbles in it because it's a top layer. It has to be as clear as possible. So I've got that heating up just now. That's why I had my gloves on. Let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to take it off completely, or if it is stuck at parts. Oh, maybe. Oh, it is going to come off. Good. There we go. So what I need actually is, I don't want to put this on anything dirty. Right, what I need is some greaseproof paper to help me get this in place. And here's hoping that it fits. So I'm going to pop that on there. I'm hoping you can still see me while I do this. Where is the centre? So fold it over just very lightly, not the sticky side together or else it would just stick to itself. Right, so that is the centre point. This is difficult. I really don't want to mess up at this point again. Is it going to be... Ah, oh no! Oh well, it's down now. We're just going to have to hope that it isn't too bad. Usually using the greaseproof paper lets you just have a tiny bit going against the resin. No, this isn't going to work. This squint. And you can't really see her face. I'm going to have to go with it, because I'm not going to be able to get this off, I don't think. The issue is the sticker paper sticking there. Let me try and cut that. I should maybe have had a darker colour behind it for the photo. I didn't think of that. But it's there and it's fine. Is it? Oh, it's not really. I might actually redo the photo on photo paper and put that on. It is squint as well, but there's nothing I can do now. It's on there. It's just going. I'm going to have to go with it. It's handmade. It's not going to be perfect, and I'll need to make sure it's as pressed down as possible so that no resin leaks under it. That is a bit annoying. Yeah, I think I'm going to redo the photo on photo paper and then stick it down. I did seal the images with a clear lacquer spray rather than using the Mod Podge this time, so hopefully that will work. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reprint the photo and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I decided to print it out on normal sticker paper. Oh, I've got a big thumbprint on it, rather than photo paper, because then I would have had the issue of how do I stick it on again. So this is sticky paper, but it's white rather than the clear, so the picture should stay nice and vibrant. And I have checked that it does fit nicely over the one that's already on there. So let's get this backing paper taken off. Right, I'll try to do better this time. I think the issue is because I'm trying to keep the piece in view of the camera. Now the thing about, let me put it further up. The thing about the greaseproof paper as well is it's see-through, so you can kind of tell where you're putting things. Here's hoping this is right. It's slightly squint, but do you know what? I'm past it now. It's going to have to do. I don't think it's going to be scrutinised in that much detail, because yeah, I just desperately need to get this done now. It's now Monday and I need to get this to her and the glass that I've not etched yet by Wednesday. So yeah, I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to go off camera and mix up my resin and then I'll come back to you. Right, you're at a different angle now because I've got this on my heat mat. It is the 4-hour demoulding resin, but I thought it won't hurt to give it a bit of help with the heat mat. Just hoping it's going to be clear enough. I have had it heating up for a while. I've not used this resin very much, I made 120 mils of it, thinking that would be enough, but it might not be. Well, it might. What I'm going to do, my heat mat's on a bit of a slope, so I just put the end of a pipette under it slightly to level it out a bit. Got all those bubbles, lots of bubbles. I don't want that. And I don't want to spritz it with alcohol either, because I don't want the gold from round the edges to go into my clear resin. I'll leave that for a couple of minutes. Well, I have got plenty. I'll leave that for a couple of minutes, and then, in fact, I'll give it a wee blast with the lighter just now. Do you know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try my heat gun. I've seen a lot of people using a heat gun to pop the bubbles in resin. Let's give that a try. Right, so I've got my heat gun, and I don't want it to put the resin all over the place, so I think that definitely helped. But I was a wee bit worried with it going sort of splashing against the sides again for that gold coming off. Right, I'm going to add some more. I want to dome this. Sorry about the lighting. I want to dome it in the mould, so that I'm not having to do another top coat when it's out of the mould. So yeah, I want to fill it right up, which is why I put it on the heat mat before I started pouring, because I don't want to have to move it when it's full. And I think that looks full enough. Now I'm not going to go over it with my heat gun again, because it will probably overflow. I might give it a little spritz of alcohol now that there's not the gold exposed. Let's see. A little bit better. Right, I'm going to leave that for sort of 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go over it with my lighter. Oh, look, there's some gold coming in. No, I don't want that. Go away, gold. Do you know what? It is what it is now. I'm doing no more. I'm certainly not starting it again, because I've wasted enough resin. Yeah, I knew that was a mistake. Anyway, I'm going to babysit this for the next sort of half hour and keep popping the bubbles. And I will come back to you in about 4 hours when this should be ready to unmould at last. Right, this has fully cured now, and I see some bubbles, and the gold has merged into the clear. But let's take it out of the mould and see how it actually looks. So that's quite interesting actually. You can see still where the other layer is through the gold. Got a little bit of clean up to do. I can do that, no bother. But I do like the gold on the outside and on the back. It gives it a lovely finish. But let's have a look at this. Not great. But you know what? I've not got any more time, and I can't afford to use more resin. So we've got a couple of bubbles down there and there. Now, I was sitting with it for ages, and I was popping them as they came up. I don't know how I missed those ones. And it's a wee bit, I think that's micro bubbles that are there that makes it look a bit fuzzy. I don't know whether I might coat it again. I might actually try to sand that down a wee touch and then coat it with UV resin and see if that helps. But yeah, I'm not overly happy with that either, although it could be part of the design, I suppose. Yeah, that's another bubble there, but that's further down. You can't even see the word there because of the gold foil behind it, which is a shame. So yeah, it's not perfect, but let me sit on the stand and see what we think. Again, it looks squint. Wait, I'll bring you down. It looks squint when it sits on the stand, and yet it didn't look squint to me when I was doing it. Oh, do you know what? Will I just redo it? Oh, I'm not sure. We'll see. So, I did end up making it again, and here it is. So, as you can see, I used a slightly creamier white. It was just Pearl that one was called, and I missed out the layer with the gold foil because I think that's what was making the writing so difficult. I have also made the writing a little bit thicker in Design Space, so it has come out clearer. And yeah, hopefully it's okay and it's going to be straight. I have just got the top coat on it just now, waiting for that to cure, but you can see it's got the gold around the edges again. And I did have to redo the stand because the original stand was the other colour. It was the whiter and it just didn't look right, especially since it had the foil as well. So I've made the stand just the same colour as the background. Hopefully this is going to be ready in time. We are now on Wednesday about 10 o'clock. So I'm hoping it's going to be ready and it's going to be fine. If it's ready for the end of this video, I will put a picture up. If not, I am vlogging today. So if you watch tomorrow night's vlog for you, you will see the finished article standing up. But oh, this has been a nightmare. Now I'm working on the etched glass. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If so, please do hit the thumbs up button. Of course it didn't go smoothly, none of my stuff ever does, but that's how we learn, and hopefully you enjoy learning from my mistakes as well, so you don't need to make them. It has been very costly mistakes, I have to say, because between that one, I mean look how thick it is, that's a lot of resin. Oh, and that one. Yeah, hopefully we are third time lucky. So yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please do hit the thumbs up button, talk to me in the comments below, subscribe if you haven't already please, and I will see you in our next one. Thanks everyone, bye!